Good morning, everyone. Just taken off from Lake George. It's 8:08 a.m. on Sunday. My mission for today is to try to fly around Canberra. I'm not sure if that will be possible. There's a reasonable southerly southeast blowing. It shouldn't have been blowing. It shouldn't be northeast, but the reality is that it's southeast. So if it's still this southerly when I get down to west of Captain's Flat or behind the Tinderies, there will be too much. It will be too turbulent. So I'll have to turn back. I think this southeast is quite localised. I'm just going to climb up and see if I can get above it. Because above me it should be blowing northwest. But you have to deal with the conditions as you find them rather than as they're forecast. There's the view looking east over towards the wind farms. Some nice little patches of sunlight over there. As you can see from the camera rocking around, there's quite a lot of turbulence, which there normally is when it's off to the south. Okay, looking down towards Bungendore area, microline 3992, 1 mile west of Bungendore at 3,000 feet. Bungendore. I just pulled the pin on my intention or plan to fly around Canberra. Turns out that the cloud base was quite low. I'm currently at 3,100 feet and probably only 200 feet below the cloud base. One of the passes that I have to go over is 3,200 feet, so that just does not give enough visibility for me in any way. A little bit disappointed, but it's much better to be disappointed than to put myself in a situation that I don't want to be in. As you can see, the sun is out now, or the clouds are under broken clouds. Unfortunately, that means that there's starting to be thermal-induced turbulence. On the ground, there's a southerly wind. Up higher, it's a northerly or northwesterly. The higher I go, the closer I am to the clouds, and also that means the more turbulent it is. We're probably only about 300 or 400 feet below the little clouds that are starting to form. So I'm afraid I'm going to have a rough trip home. It's a trade-off between going high and getting into the turbulent air from the clouds, and the sheer layer between the south and the northerly wind, or staying low, or staying as low as I can, which legally I can go down to 300 feet, but I prefer to stay above 500 feet so I don't cause too much noise on the ground. So in this part of the flight, the thing that I'm focusing on is identifying power lines, identifying where those power lines go, making sure that I've got options for landings at all time, There's a nice little paddock below me. No more power lines until I get home, which is always a nice thing. My approach to aviation is to try to reduce the number of things I need to think about as much as possible. I do quite a lot of that on the ground in terms of planning out my route, planning out how I can hold things, planning out how I've got my instruments set up and things like that. Also, when you're flying, there's a certain number of things you always have to consider. Safe landings, given that we've got little two-stroke engines that could stop working at any time. I'm always considering where I'm going to land, the safety of those landings, fences, power lines, those sorts of things. So now I'm almost over the bed of Lake George. So that means that I don't have to be concerned about power lines. Para blaze wing up above, how it's moving around. The air is fairly turbulent at present, and I'm at 600 feet above the lake floor, doing 24 knots. So going into a slight headwind, 200 feet below the little clouds that are just starting to form. There's a cloud coming up, so I'll expect some turbulence underneath that. Yep, it's definitely the right time for me to be on the ground.